This is Michael Spedden, and welcome to Fowl Players Radio, your one-stop shop for all of your pop culture needs. We feature interviews from musicians, actors, comics, dancers, authors, and much, much more, up-and-coming artists and beloved favorites. We've got it all, people on stage, backstage, out front, and behind the scenes. Sit back and relax. Let's have some fun.
Hi, I'm Emmy Jo.
And I'm Doug, and we're from the New Zoo Review, and you're watching Fowl Players Radio.
Hey, Mary Jo Peel here, and you are listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Hey folks, Michael Spedden here, and tonight we are back into season 13 of Fowl Players Radio. You thought I went away, didn't you? No, I didn't. I'm right here, and we have lots of great episodes coming to you in the next couple of months. I've got some great guests lined up that you're just going to love. So make sure you keep it right here on foulplayersradio.com and youtube.com/@foulplayersradio. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button and tell your friends, and make sure you leave a comment, to let people know how you like it. So, getting back, we have Randy Oglesby here tonight. He's an actor who has most recently been in Spider Noir, and that is a show featuring Nicolas Cage. It's on MGM Plus and Amazon Prime. We also have, he's also in the new Burbs. The Burbs has a TV version of it now on streaming services. He's also appeared in Mad Men, various versions of Star Trek over the years, and Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, documentary now with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader. Just a very, very great resume, a very, very great list of credits, and I really think you'll enjoy this episode. He's had a great career, and he has lots of great stories. So I would recommend that you check out his website, randyoglesby.com. From that website, you can find links to his IMDb page and others. So, folks, stick around right after this break. We'll be right back with Randy Oglesby.
Hey, this is Brian Damage from Kicks and Rhino Bucket, and you're listening and watching Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome back to Fowl Players Radio. We're in the beginning of a brand new season here on Fowl Players Radio, season 13. And I won't say that to jinx anybody, but season 13, episode number 2, we have actor Randy Oglesby with us tonight. And Randy has just been cast, and he finished shooting Spider Noir, a brand new show that is out on, I believe, MGM Plus. It's a sort of it's in the Spider-Man world, and he's here to tell us about that. And he has a great resume. A lot of shows that I've really liked over the years he's appeared in. He's one of those guys that you see from time to time. And Randy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you, bud. Our
Thank
friend
you,
Charles Sherman really hooked us up again, huh?
Good. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Sure. So, I guess the big news right now is Spider Noir. Why don't you tell us about the show and what your part is in it?
Well, the show, first of all, it also is on Amazon.
Amazon too.
Okay. Yeah, you can see it on Amazon Prime as well. Well, it's in the Spider-Man universe. Nick Cage is playing Spider-Man in Manhattan, New York, 1930s. It's a period piece. Very interesting. They shot it in black and white, but they've also adapted it to color.
Oh,
So when you tune into it, you get to choose whether you want to see it in black and white or color. I would recommend the black and white because we don't get to see that very much, and it looks very cool in black and white.
there's a certain feel that has that I really like.
Yeah. It's noir. It's the noir world, film noir. Very kind of hard-bitten detectives and corrupt cops and and lovable mobsters. I mean, it kind of it covers the gamut in that Sam Spade, Raymond Chandler, that world. But this is Spider-Man in that world, and that's the Nick Cage. Plays a detective who who becomes Spider-Man, but I don't want to give too much away. I mean, the show is out, so I'm not gonna be compromised that way. But I won't go into the details. I'll let the your audience tune in and enjoy it on their own. But it was great. It was a very nice gig, and really good crew, great directors. They had different directors. Each director, I believe, did 2 episodes, which was really interesting. And
Hmm.
one of the little footnote, one of the directors that I worked in Spider Noir went on to direct an episode of The Burbs, which I'm also in on Peacock.
Oh wow, yeah,
So, so
that's a
I,
good show too.
it's a yeah, I play a very nice part in that. I play the retired policeman, a neighbor in the neighborhood, and I have a nice little love interest in Julia Duffy, and I have a little romance, modest romance, but it was a lot of fun. That was a lovely show. But to finish with Spider Noir, um, yeah, it was. We shot it all over town in different places and some beautiful old. There was one place that was an old. It had been a nightclub, I think, and it was like they didn't even have to dress it up for the period. It was a beautiful place
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
working. One of my scenes was shot there, and I'm in a nightclub, seated at a booth with with the Irish mobster in the piece, played by Brendan Gleeson, who is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, yeah.
Irish actor, and I got to spend most of the day or the morning anyway, sitting with Brendan and talking and getting meeting him, and that was great. There was not a big it was not a scene with a lot of lines, so we had plenty of time to just shoot the breeze. And my wife and I had been to Ireland recently, so I had plenty to talk about.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, he's lovely, lovely, lovely man. And he's got 3 sons that are also actors. And I've seen 2 of them, Brian and Donald. And
Oh,
they're
okay.
very, yeah, so they fell close to the tree.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
So did you say that it was filmed in New York or LA?
No, it was LA.
It was
I shot in
LA.
LA. There may have been shooting in New York, but
Mhm.
I think it was mostly here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there
Yeah.
are some really great, I guess, for that period, like that Art Deco style of building out there.
Yeah.
So you really have your
Yeah.
choice of what you want. There's a lot of them in New York City too. I don't know if you've ever been to the Brill building up there, but that's
Oh
that's
yeah.
a sight
Yeah.
to be seen on the inside there. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Just such beautiful. It's just such a nice style, and I think it would fit that
Yeah.
film noir very, very well.
Oh, it was very beautifully done. Tracy Fields did the wardrobe, terrific wardrobe, great period costumes. It's always great to get to dress up in the old stuff.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the ties and the suits, and it was the hats. People wore hats, which was, we don't wear hats much anymore, but
Not
it was
unless they say Budweiser on them or something, unfortunately.
right, 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 right.
Right. Well, the thing was too, it was like, and in the era we're in, just to kind of add to what you said,
Hmm.
years ago, I mean, every men were always walking around with a jacket and tie on,
Oh
no
yeah,
matter,
yeah,
unless they were doing like a intensive
yeah,
labor job. But,
yeah.
everybody walked around with a jacket and tie on. And, the way people were just casual and everyday back then is like almost considered being dressed up now.
Oh, for sure. People did. Well, people dressed up. They dressed up. Well, they dressed up because you didn't go out in the public unless you were dressed.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't casual. Women wore gloves.
Hmm.
You can see bread lines from that period. Men are in jackets and coats and hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even they don't have. So it's yeah, real fun period. Looks great. As I say, you can see it in black and white. I say try the black and white first. I'm
Mhm.
not sure quite why they went to the color as well. It could be they wanted to appeal to a younger viewer who
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
not want to watch the black and white. I, but yeah, that's you do have the option. And
Right. Right.
um,
Yeah, 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 and just an interesting point here, and just like kind of an opinion I have about the black and white and color thing. Um, I, I just feel like there's certain things that just should be black and white.
Mhm.
An example, It's a Wonderful Life should be black and
Yeah.
white. I didn't like the colorized version of it. I couldn't watch it. I've watched The Twilight Zone, the Rod Serling, black and white all the way.
Mhm.
The newer versions of The Twilight Zone, the later versions that came out in the 80s and even more recently, it just doesn't
Mhm.
have it. I mean, the black and white just has a certain feel that I think it brings to the show
Yeah.
or the movie that just
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
certain element that just makes it right. That's all I can
Yeah,
really
there's
say.
like a different emotional register.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and also faces. I love Spider Noir in black and white. I'm usually when I watch myself, I'm pretty critical. It's like, oh my God, I can't. It's not always easy to watch yourself, but I have to admit, I like seeing myself in black and white in Spider Noir.
Oh
I
yeah,
look
yeah.
at this guy, I look at this character, and I think, yeah, yeah, I can. I'm that guy. That's
Mhm.
me. That works. It's nice when you you don't always feel that way. I
Mhm.
mean, it's very hard. I think most actors are pretty self-critical.
Oh yeah.
Hard to please ourselves
Yep.
watching ourselves.
Our own toughest critic, and we beat the hell out of ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh man. So this journey for you, and I guess there's a whole bunch of titles. I was looking at your IMDb, so many shows that you've been in that I like. And
Mhm.
there's been a number of them that I really liked. Um, but this kind of started for you, as you started out born in Memphis. Do you want
Correct.
to tell us about your journey, starting in Memphis and
Yeah.
kind of where you ended up now?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been an interesting journey and not something I planned. I did not intend to become an actor. It was not, I did a couple of plays, a couple of musicals in high school.
Yeah.
A musical called The Boyfriend and another musical called West Side Story.
Hmm.
And uh, I have a terrific, I don't know how I ended up with it. I do have a photograph, a black and white photograph of the cast of West Side Story sitting at the front of the stage and on the steps there, getting notes from their director. And there I am getting the notes, and up right next to me, or just one person down, is Kathy Bates.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we graduated from high school in the same class.
Is that right?
Yeah, and Kathy, I will say, even then, she I think she knew that's what she wanted to do. She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a real theater junkie, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't say that critically. She was keen for it, and I had no idea I was going to do it. I actually went to college and I was in pre-med, and
Yeah, yeah.
I was a very good student. I was, pretty brainy and had good grades. I went to the University of Virginia. I got in some really nice schools. I went to UVA. And but once I got there, taking science classes again, more of that, I had kind of done my academic, I was kind of done with academics in a way. And my junior year, fall semester, I just completely bombed out. I mean, I
Uh,
bombed it, four F's and a D. You
oh,
can't do
yeah.
you can't do it much better than that. And I went home to Memphis in the spring and lived there. It was the Vietnam War. It was 69. I got as far as getting a physical, almost got drafted into the in you know in and but I got back into summer school,
Oh,
got,
okay.
got my deferment, so I wasn't drafted. And
Hmm.
while I was in Memphis, actually, I got a job. I don't know if you noticed in my resume, I had a series of really wild jobs that I had to do. But
Yeah, I
between the
saw
time
that.
Yeah, between the time, I decided to be an actor and was making enough money that I could make a living as an actor, but I had a huge array of jobs, really crazy. And one of them was scrub assistant in surgery,
Hmm.
which I did that spring because I figured okay, I've really screwed my, medical chances, but maybe if I want to salvage them, I need to know that I want to do it. So after 2 weeks of learning sterile technique, I was literally in surgery at the Baptist Hospital, and I saw everything from open heart to facelifts to you name it. I
Wow.
did so many, I did so many gallbladders, I think I could have done one. And
Yeah.
but what I had to do, I was a scrub. All I did was hold retractors. I was really two hands.
Hmm.
That's all I had to do. So I didn't have to deal with instruments or anything complicated.
Right,
And in
right.
those days, but anyway, that's what I did. Got back into, got back and realized, maybe medicine was not something I wanted to pursue
Hmm.
at that point. I got back into college in the summer, and it was the summer of '69, which was Woodstock and the moon landing.
Oh
It was a
yeah.
very big, very big summer. And
And the year
uh,
I entered this earth, by the way. So we'll just,
was that
yeah,
your year? Okay,
yeah.
well,
Hmm.
it's a good year then.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I took I didn't know what to do. What am I going to do? I suddenly didn't have a career. I need a career. What does a young guy do? I was 20, 21, I guess. And I took a theater class and where we were reading plays. And I'll never forget reading Arthur Miller's After the Fall, which is about his relationship with Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, very interesting book. It's about his leaving his wife and hooking up with Marilyn. And I related to that notion of After the Fall because I had sort of experienced a bit of a fall myself.
Hmm.
And one thing led to another. I took some more theater classes. I took an acting class. I was in the first acting class at UVA.
Hmm.
There had been none. I mean, this is '69. Everybody, sex, drugs, rock and roll, everybody was suddenly getting into the arts.
Hmm.
The arts were very, and between then and now, you see the arts has just it's huge now. All schools have theater departments and film departments and you name it. Um, and I got started there, and at one point I realized there's there at that time I think there was sort of you either had to go to LA or New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I figured New York would be closer, and I like the idea of doing theater. So, in the winter of I think it was '71, or I went to New York and ended up being I'd never been to New York. I bought a Thomas Guide. Do you remember the Thomas Guide? The map books. It was a book
Oh yeah,
with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of page with you could get a New York Thomas Guide, pages and pages of maps of
Hmm.
the city. I bought a Thomas Guide and got a job as a cab driver, and didn't know. I mean, I'm making this up as I go along. Um, Eventually, I also started taking acting lessons with the wonderful actress and teacher named Julie Bavasso. God bless her. She's no longer with us, but Julie was terrific. Um, so I was, that was good. And uh, lost the cab job at one time because I had a little accident I didn't report
Mm.
and ended up as a bicycle messenger. So I was on the street. So it was a close to the bone existence. I was living in a third floor walk up in the East Village on Sixth Street between First and Second.
Right,
It
right.
was yeah. Anyway, I one thing led to another. I ended up meeting someone, a woman that I felt madly in love with. She lived in LA. I decided I wanted to go there. One day on my bicycle job, I found two $20 bills on the street, and that was
Hmm.
enough to get me to Los Angeles
Yeah.
on the Gray Rabbit, which was a hippie bus line that went direct. It went direct from New York to LA,
Oh
and
wow.
they had bunks in the back so you could sleep, and the seats were in the front. And I took the hippie bus line to LA. Get to LA, love affairs washed out. Immediately, you knew that was going to go wrong.
Hmm.
And I ended up going to acting school in San Francisco at the American Conservatory Theater.
Mm, right.
I was there in the school for 3 years, and then I was in the acting company for 5 years. And while I was there, I did 40 plays in that 7 years I was in San Francisco.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, you do 6 or 7 plays a year, it adds up.
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
it does. Yeah.
yeah. ACT hired 35 actors for a 9-month contract. I
Wow.
mean, I had a regular acting job for unheard of even now.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get hired like that.
No, no.
I got to do that for 5 years, and agents would come and scout to the Geary Theater. The Geary's a beautiful 1,500 seat house, big house, A house, equity A house theater, and they'd come scout. And in '82, I left. I left San Francisco and came to LA, and I had a good agent when I got here, and I started doing film and television, and that's and that's what got me here. And then I had a long, a lot of guest stars. I my one of my first sitcom was in '84. I did a Bob Newhart, and the scene that I had this one little scene, and Julia Duffy was in the scene.
Is that right?
And flash forward to now, and I'm working with Julia Duffy in the Burbs, which it was just a great coincidence.
That's
So
awesome. And then
yeah,
Newhart,
crazy.
he was always one of my favorites too. Any of
Yeah,
the shows that he
he
had, I always thought were great.
yeah.
And yeah, and working, getting an opportunity to work with him. I had another guest on actually a couple of years ago. He had was on the first Bob Newhart show and from the '70s, and said he
Uh,
was absolutely great. And really enjoyed working with him. It was Sam Quasman. If you remember the episode, it was one of the last ones where he was the guy in the psychiatrist's office with the ventriloquist dummy. That
no,
was
I
it
don't
was Emmy
remember.
nominated.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was a good one.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was a really good one. Yeah. Well, that's great.
yeah. I actually didn't have a scene with Bob, but I know, when I met Julia again when we
Mhm.
were doing the Burbs. I mean, one of the first things that came up was that scene that I was in. And she said, "Oh, yes, I remember that scene." She said that people talked about that scene for a long time.
Mhm.
So it was a memorable moment. And she went on about Bob Newhart, and he had died, I think, not too long ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he was much loved and really respected. And, I know Julia felt, she felt very strongly about him and was very
Mhm.
grateful. I think that was one of her first kind of major jobs,
Sure,
in business. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but he was the best. He was the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
And it's really funny too because you know, his shows and him, himself really seemed to be kind of like it's kind of almost like a soft-spoken, mild-mannered, gentle guy. And his best friend was Don Rickles. What a pair, huh?
Right. Yeah, what a pair. Yeah. 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 It was a great combo. Yeah.
What a
Oil and
pair.
water.
Yeah, that's yin
Uh,
and yang right there, I guess,
yeah.
huh?
There you go. Don Rickles. What a care. Wow. Wow.
No. So I was looking through, I had a couple of other, I was looking through your reels, I was doing my homework here, and
Mhm.
a couple of things that really kind of stuck out to me was, you know, uh, Spider Noir, we were talking about that. And, myself, I was in, part of the DC universe, having been in Gotham, but there is so much with the DC and the Marvel universe.
Right.
All these comic books movies are coming
Right.
out of the woodwork. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, one after another. And honestly, I mean, before I was on Gotham, I hadn't read a comic book since 1978. And I was never a comic book guy. My parents and grandparents
I
used to,
was not.
yeah, they used to give them to me to shut me up on the way to the ocean every summer, when I was a kid. But another one that's a big universe, and this is another one that's like a religion. It looked like you were in a couple of Star Trek series, huh?
I did all of them.
Isn't that
From
something?
from that. Yeah, I did from all of them up through Enterprise.
Right,
I did
right.
I did Next Generation. That was my first one. I did two Deep Space. I did Voyager, and I did two Enterprise. I mean, because
Wow.
you're wearing latex, they can cast you. You can play other parts because you're not going to be recognizable.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so tell us a little more about that. I
Well,
guess because you were playing different creature or different characters, different
yeah, different
creatures from different
characters. I
worlds.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, um, of the, I would say I tended to play, well, I played both humanoid and very extreme. I was a Kardashian. I was different. One was a full lizard, the Golden Commander. It's really everything was like a lizard suit with scales,
Oh
only
boy.
I'm golden. That was in Enterprise. And uh it was, I will say this, that science fiction universe was nothing I ever anticipated. I mean, I'd been doing classical repertory theater in San Francisco
Sure, yeah.
and doing Shakespeare and Ibsen and O'Neill and suddenly I'm in Hollywood doing, wearing latex and doing science fiction. But so it was a bit of a surprise. It was not something I had planned, but Hollywood's full of surprises, and it certainly. And when I look back at my career, there were plenty of those surprises. Um, uh, uh, you know, but looking back over the Star Trek that I did, the one of the main memories I have is what a great crew it was. The
Oh yeah.
directors, the crew, the sound people, the lights, the grips. Everybody worked so hard, and they showed me that, we talk about an ensemble and you think, well, the acting ensemble. Well, I tell you, when you're working with a really good crew,
Hmm.
it's all an ensemble.
It
They're
is.
working together, and use the cameraman, everybody's plugged into it, and they took their job really seriously because it was a
Hmm.
really good gig, and they knew they'd have a few years or maybe many years of work if they work hard and do their best. And the makeup department, terrific. I think that was the Westmores. And the Westmore family went way back in makeup. I mean,
Oh
back to
yeah.
the back, way back the 30s, 40s, I think.
Hmm.
And it was so it was a really an interesting stories. I mean, they're very big stories where entire worlds are at stake. So the stakes are huge. It's fun to play in that world.
Oh, I bet
And
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet it is. What was it like? I mean, playing all these different creatures. I mean, you're not just playing like, a regular guy like yourself, where they put some makeup on you and you go out, for the camera. I mean, they're putting prosthetics on, and I can remember hearing about people like Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, spending hours in the makeup chair,
Yeah,
putting the Frankenstein stuff on and the
yeah,
werewolf and the,
yeah.
Phantom of the Opera. What was it like for you playing all these creatures? I mean, were you spending a lot of time in the makeup chair before you shot, or did you have to get there like way early in the morning to get ready and stuff, or how did that?
Yeah, yeah. You'd
Yeah.
get you'd get there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And the longest I was in the chair for makeup, I was playing a Cardassian who had been. The story was he had been involved in a terrorist bombing, and half of his face was disfigured,
Oh wow.
and so it had to be a Cardassian. And also, I decided when I got the job and I'm sitting in the makeup chair, I'd said, well, not only should this half of my face be, we've got to do my hand because I was this whole, so I was in the chair 5 hours
Wow.
doing that makeup and 3 hours to get out of it. So you're
Wow.
we're doing these very, very long days,
I
very
bet
long
that
days.
was.
You made a lot of overtime and,
Oh, oh
a
yeah.
lot of
Wow.
forced calls, stuff like that. So it was a lovely paying job in that sense.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me too much. I could wear the makeup okay. There was a funny story that somebody told me they'd worked with somebody on the show, and clearly this person was having trouble with the makeup,
Hmm.
and a real trouble. And literally the story is this actor finally, when lunch break, after about 3 days of it, lunch break came, he just ripped off his makeup and left the studio. He
Mm.
just walked. He couldn't take it anymore. I
Wow.
didn't have a problem with it. It
Right.
was, and the makeup people, again, they were great. They were terrific. You could sit in the chair with them, and they were not only good artists and craftsmen, but they were, real genial people. Good conversation.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing I found too on the movie sets and stuff that I've been on. It's just
Yeah.
it's like a family there, and the people
Yeah.
were very welcoming to me. I mean, they didn't know me from Adam, when I came up, but
Yeah.
I felt like everybody's just very kind, very courteous, and it was a welcome surprise because I didn't know what to expect my first trip to the dance, so to say. But I've got to
Yeah. Yeah.
say, after my first trip to the dance, I wouldn't have chosen three other actors to have my first trip to the dance with than the three that I was on with Gotham. It was just really
Yeah.
great. And
Who-
everybody else too. I met some people that
Yeah.
were actually from my hometown on set too.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were also in Independence Day. You had a scene with Randy Quaid.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell me about that one.
Well, that's the scene. Randy Quaid is a character he has a reputation for having the story has gotten around, or he has claimed to have been abducted by aliens.
Hmm.
So, he's a drunk. He's sitting at the bar, bleary eyed, and I'm this mechanic in my,
Hmm.
grease monkeys uniform. And I'm kind of teasing him in the scene and joking, make a little bit making fun of him.
Hmm.
And of course, then about aliens and come on, come on. And of course, the scene ends with the rocket ship coming. We hear it coming, and I then turn and walk over to the window, and suddenly I see the alien spaceship coming in, and
Hmm.
um, but Roland Emmerich directed, and it was really interesting working with him. There's another little scene in the piece. I don't know if there's a little insert, a video insert
Hmm.
of a scene that I'm in with the other guy that was the mechanic. And I'll tell you how this came about. It's very interesting, and it's a funny scene because there's a line in that scene which I think arguably maybe the funniest line in the movie. And what happened was, they wanted a clip of these two mechanics being interviewed by a television interviewer. And, basically, Emmerich said, "Look, we need to shoot this little clip. Go off with the B camera
Hmm.
and shoot it." And we said, "But there's no dialogue, there's no text, there's no script." He said, "Don't worry, just improvise it." So he sent us off to improvise this scene, and and as the scenes and this other guy and I are in the scene. We were getting along great. We were doing we were coming up with some good stuff. But the line that I say at one point, which I think is the one I referred to, they're talking about Randy Quaid, and he's got this reputation as having been abducted, and is he all there? What's going on? And at some point she says, "Well, and what do you know about these abductions with him, and what could have happened?" And I said, "Well, he was abused sexually." Yeah, yeah. He
That
was
was
abused sexually.
that's really
So
funny.
yeah.
Just that when you
Yeah.
put that in
Yeah,
there.
so I did not get any credit though for having come up with that line, but that's okay. It was great fun. They blew up a lot of stuff. I don't know if you remember the scene where
Hmm.
all the campers and the SUVs get blown up. They had a
Yeah.
scene. Everybody went, it was out in the desert. We shot it in near Reno, I think, or somewhere out there, and everybody wanted to go see everything get blown up that one day. But yeah, yeah,
I-
that was yeah, Independence Day.
right.
And
And the
Bill Pullman was the president. And I knew Bill because when he first moved to LA, I had a house with an extra bedroom. And I said, I met this guy, somebody said, "This guy, Bill Pullman's coming to LA. I said, well, you can stay in my extra bedroom. That'd be fine." And so I met Bill. And so I knew Bill, from that, although I didn't have anything to do, with the movie with him,
sure,
but
sure.
that was yeah. Now, Bill was a great example of somebody who came to LA and then took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he just boom. And so anyway, interesting sometimes that happens, and sometimes you work for years and years doing guest stars, and you still have a good time.
Right, right, right. Well, another thing too with Independence Day, the fellow who played the scientist who ran that underground Area 51 type of place, he was another
Right.
Star Trek actor, wasn't he? He played
Or
the
was it? I
he
don't
played
remember. I don't remember who that was.
Data. I think the character's name was Data.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was like a
yeah.
half human, half bot.
Right, right, right.
But in the
I remember
movie,
the
yeah, they gave him like
yeah.
real long hair and different glasses,
Oh
so I
yeah.
didn't really
Yeah.
recognize him. I thought it was actually Randy
Yeah.
Quaid playing a double part because he kind of looked like
Right.
him too, you know. Yep.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the Star Trek actors, I mean, a lot of them were actors that I knew very well, that
Mhm,
we were all in the business. We were all coming and going, doing this and that, and going to the same auditions and stuff. So,
mhm.
there was a great community at that time, and I loved it. And, there were people that I knew because I was end up in the audition room with them, or in the waiting room, and we're all going in to read for the same part, which is the sad thing about, nowadays, since COVID, it's all self-tape for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't have to drive around town, which is nice not to have to drive so much. But you're also not going to the studios. In the day, you'd have to drive to Fox or Warner Brothers or
Oh yeah.
CBS Rad. You'd drive all over, and you got to, you felt you were part of this real physical community, and you'd be in the waiting room with the same bunch of guys. Generally, we're all reading for similar parts, same type of character actors, and there was a real sense of community that we don't have anymore.
Yeah, it seems kind
Which
of
Yeah,
isolated and individualist.
yeah,
Or yeah. Um,
yeah.
it really it is, it's an isolation. That's really not you don't get the network that way. You really don't. So yeah,
No,
I
it's
agree with
different.
what you
It's
said.
different.
Absolutely. Um,
Now,
uh,
now, as far as networking go, when I did come to LA, the first thing I came with a bunch of comrades from San Francisco who were
mhm.
actors, and we started a little theater company called the Pacific Resident Theater
I was going to ask you
Ensemble.
about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah? Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Well, then we're there.
Yes,
And
yes, do
I
tell.
was, yeah, I was one of the founding members.
Hmm.
For what that's worth. And we started doing plays because that was our trade. We knew how to do theater, and at that time, casting agents would come see the smaller shows. You could do yourself, you could do some good bit, and you keep your chops going. Keep working out, and that's important. So I was involved in producing, and I wrote a play. I did some directing, and it was a great fun time. I mean, we would, and that little theater still exists today, and it's actually one of the better, I would say, more significant small theater houses in Venice, out in Venice,
Okay.
on Lincoln Boulevard.
Oh,
But
sure, sure.
yeah, yeah. So it was great. So you keep yourself going, you keep yourself alive creatively, even if you're not, playing in the big leagues. You're still keeping things fresh. I did 7 shows at the Mark Taper Forum, 7 plays there. I did a bunch of plays at South Coast Repertory, which was great. Um, so you keep yourself going however best you can. And it makes for an interesting trip.
It really does. It really does. Because besides the ones that I get through my my management, the what I call the welcome to the the cups of coffee or the professional level jobs. I do a lot
Right,
of my own work
right,
as well. Um,
right.
so yeah, it does keep your chops up and everything. And I do have my own
Yeah,
network here. Um,
yeah, yeah.
Yep. Tell me what was documentary now. I'm dying to hear a little more about this because you worked with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader, two of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. I think there wasn't a whole, unfortunately, there's not a lot to tell because I think it was like a couple of scenes. I go to the door, I meet him at the door. All I know is with what little exposure I had to them,
Hmm.
I realize they are very funny guys.
They're
I mean, they are,
hysterical.
and they that is their trade,
Hmm.
to be funny. And I appreciate that, although that was not really, I don't come from that direction. comedy for me was you be as truthful as possible, and if the situation and the script is good enough, it'll be funny. You
Right,
don't,
right,
but,
right.
but these were people that think about how to make it funny,
Yes,
and
yes.
it was you were, and they're sharp and they're quick, and you realize you're in the presence of a different kind of animal than I was accustomed to working with, but
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Right. And the thing that I like about them too is that, and this is something that's a big thing nowadays. And I've interviewed a lot of, comedians that are, veteran comedians and things like that. If you look through, if you look through whether it be your Facebook feed, your Instagram, so many comics out there posting clips of themselves. And it's almost a contest to see who could be the dirtiest without really putting much thought
Yeah.
into wit or making it
Yeah.
genuinely
Yeah.
funny. It's just strictly below the
Yeah.
belt, below the belt, below the belt.
Yeah.
And those two are just totally not like that. I mean, you can tell the thought and the real effort that goes into making their work, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. We live not too far from it's now called Largo, but it was down on La Cienega out here in Los Angeles. There's a comedy venue, and we've seen a lot of comedians and some some good ones and some very well known. But there were a number that I thought it just a little bit scatological. I mean, do you really need to go there?
Yeah,
Uh,
right, right, right.
we saw Paula Poundstone this last Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
and she was playing at a nice venue in Beverly Hills, and boy, she's the real deal. She's terrific.
Oh, she
I don't know if
is.
you're,
Yeah.
you know, and her relationship with the audience is fantastic. How she turns that into comic gold is just a really something to watch because she's so good at it.
Yeah. Well, she was part of that, I guess like, late 70s, 80s era, I
80,
guess the golden
yeah,
age of comedy. With the Jerry Seinfelds, the Kathy Ladmans,
right, right.
you know, that era was just absolutely phenomenal. And we used to record the hell out of it. I had such a
Uh-huh.
tape library,
Really?
recording, Johnny Carson, recording the HBO specials, recording the
Yeah,
MTV concerts. That's what
yeah,
we used to watch at parties.
yeah,
We
really.
used to watch
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah.
over and over and over, and it's just, it
Yeah,
was
my
great
my
stuff. Hmm.
yeah, I when I was in San Francisco, well, it's interesting because when I was becoming an actor and sort of coming to terms with the fact that I want to be an actor, I'm gonna be an actor. Am I an actor? Well,
Hmm.
we'll find out. There were two things that the two things sort of inspired me. One was dance,
Hmm.
and one was stand-up comedy. I
Yeah.
I remember, in the 70s when I decided to go into the arts, suddenly everything in the arts, I was like, not that I don't want to sound high tone and highfalutin like I'm an artist, but suddenly the arts became, I couldn't get enough. I remember seeing a fantastic uh, uh, modern art show at the Metropolitan in the early 70s that had every modern artist in the United States, room after room of this incredible art. From Jackson Pollock to Clay Oldenburg to et cetera, et cetera. I could go down the list, but um, so dance and stand-up comedy they were like symbols of something. Now, dance represented the physicality of the work because an actor, your body is the deal,
Oh yeah.
is the instrument. So you take care of it, and then there was stand-up comedy, and stand-up comedy was like the spontaneity.
Yeah.
Can you be as spontaneous as a stand-up comic doing a script that somebody else has written?
Hmm.
How do you? So I was really inspired. And in San Francisco, I saw Steve Martin live
Oh
three
wow.
times.
Oh man.
Oh, let me tell you, baby, he was on fire. And every night he killed it. I mean, the art, full houses.
Hmm.
He would everybody was he would say, let's go at the end of his routine, both nights I saw him, he did the same thing. Let's go get a hamburger. And people would follow him out onto the street. Anyway, he was amazing. And that was also the classic Saturday Night Live was starting with
Mm-hmm.
Belushi and Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy later
Mm-hmm.
and Monty Python.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the Monty Python years. I mean, there was some great comedy then. But it was interesting to me because those two things, dance and comedy and stand up, were like, yeah, they represent two elements of what I aspire to
Oh yeah.
as an
Yeah.
actor. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that, and when I've done theater and everything, they say somebody could be a triple threat if they can sing, dance, and act. Okay, I think I'm a 1.5 threat because I can sing fairly decently, I can act pretty well. Dance,
Yeah.
no. Dance is when my character has to leave the stage for that routine, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
we had at ACT we do a Christmas show every year, and when you were in the school, you had to do a dance number at this Christmas show. And I remember the year I had to be in it. I
uh-huh,
wore a very long thing that went like an Arab's thing that goes down almost to my feet, so that you
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
see my leg moving.
hmm
That was anyway. That was Yeah, I know. I did a lot of singing early on, and I did
right,
musicals. Once I became an actor, and in the early days I did a number of musicals, and I enjoyed it, but it's something that I did not really continue with. There
yeah.
wasn't much call for it in Hollywood, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I came from playing in bands to doing theater,
Oh
so that
yeah?
was kind of
Oh
that was kind
really?
of my path into it. Yeah, I kind of backed into acting. I kind of was
Yeah.
asked by a friend of mine. I knew that I played in bands to come out for Jesus Christ Superstar at Baltimore Actors Theater.
Oh,
And that's kind
okay.
of how I got into it. And then kind of one
Yeah.
thing led to another for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we all have our different paths that it. This is why I
Yeah.
have this
Yeah.
podcast so people can all hear this and we can all,
Right. Right.
yeah, I wanted to ask you too. I noticed that Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Did you have a Jim Carrey
Right.
story or an experience you want to share there?
Well, I mean, just only a generic kind of because I'm in a courtroom scene. I play a detective who's been spying on uh I don't know if it's Carrie's, I don't think it's his wife. I can't remember the story, but I'm spying on somebody who's having an affair with the pool boy.
Oh, right,
Um
right, right. Yeah,
and I'm testifying. I had a little sort of a little pencil mustache, and I'm slightly shady kind of character,
yeah, yeah.
sitting up there, and but I remember Jim Carrey being around, and occasionally I think he comes into the courtroom, and he was a live wire, man. He was on. I mean, he was just kinetic.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it was at the height of his probably wildest, stuff,
Right,
and
right.
it was fun to be around that. And it was a nice gig. It was a
I,
real nice gig.
I bet it was. And then I also saw a clip of you on your, I think it was on your IMDb page, a pretty heated scene. I think it was called Unthinkable with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting film. Not it came out. I think it somehow that was. I think that might have come out during. I think COVID kind of compromised that way that thing came out.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was Sam Jackson and Stephen Root, who's
Oh,
a
yeah.
wonderful actor. Yeah, Stephen's in it, and that British actor whose name escapes me now, Michael Sheen,
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah.
in it.
Sure, sure.
He
Yeah.
played the terrorist that we have,
Hmm.
and I play a bureaucrat with a gun in his pocket because I pull a gun on Sam Jackson.
Hmm.
Uh, but it was a very dark film, and I don't think it didn't do particularly well. I don't
Right,
think.
right, right. Well, it
Yeah,
was a good scene with you had, I think. That's all.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
yep, yeah, it was who else? Who was the woman that was in it? Carrie? No, I can't. Anyway, yeah, it was a good. It was an exciting scene, where very high tension, high stakes. Those are always fun to do.
Right, 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 right. So, so you've been at this a good while here. I mean, you've had a good long career, a lot of, a good list of credits. What
Yeah.
is on your bucket list? Do you have anything on a bucket list or anything that you absolutely think you have to do before it's all said and done?
I'd like to do another couple of Westerns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love, well, for one thing, I've been, in the last, once I could afford it, I'd always ridden horses as a youngster, and
Hmm.
I did a lot of riding. And when I did the Eastwood Pale Rider, which was my first movie,
Hmm.
which is an interesting thing because I was doing a play at the Mark Taper Forum in the 1984 Summer Olympics here. They did
Hmm.
an Olympic Arts Festival. We had artists and actors come over from the Royal Shakespeare Company. Helen Mirren came over. I remember she and Gordon Davidson, who was the artistic director of the Mark Taper Forum, put together an acting company, and we did 3 plays. One of them was a restoration comedy that was rewritten by a writer named Jim McClure, um, uh, and set in the Old West. And I play this really ridiculous cowboy
Uh-huh.
who just he just butchers the English language.
Hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. I'm bow-legged. I'm got a funny old dialect, and I'm talking like this. The colonel's going to whip me 3 ways to Sunday. Just a big character. A lot of fun. That's the beauty of theater. You can play a big character and not blow out and not be too much for the camera.
Hmm.
But a young casting director saw me in it and called me in to read for Pale Rider.
Oh.
And I went in to read. Uh, Phyllis Huffman was casting,
Hmm.
and I read for Phyllis, and I didn't hear anything. And the next thing I know, they say, we want you to come. You're going to work 2 weeks and 10 days.
Oh, okay.
So, and we want you to play this part. So I played this part that was not in that I didn't read for. And it was funny because I show up on the set, and I'm one of these bad guys. There were 2 groups of bad guys in Pale Rider. The
Hmm.
really serious bad guys who wear the dusters and the low brim hats, and
Yeah, right, right.
they're lethal.
Hmm.
Now, I was one of the doofus bad guys. We're the ones we're the ones that he beats up with the axe handle and literally leaves us in a pile in the mud
Hmm.
at the wagon there in the town. So I show up at the set, and they say, you're going to play this character, and you're going to be in this gang. You're going to be one of these bad guys. I said, well, who am I? I said, well, you got to make up a name. I
Hmm.
said, well, you mean make up a character name? They said, yeah. What do you want to be called? I said, gosh, I don't know. I said, I want to be called Elam. And they said, yeah. I said,
Hmm.
yeah, after Jack Elam.
Oh yeah.
Do, do you
Yeah.
remember Jack Elam? He
Yes. Yeah.
had like
Yeah.
a one. I mean, he was a classic bad guy
Oh,
in
he
the
was.
movies,
Yeah. Yeah.
going back, decades.
Hmm.
So I end up as Elam, and I'm in the credits as Elam, and that's how I,
That's
ended up.
that's
But but
awesome.
I, but to get but they because I could ride back to the
Hmm.
horses and back to
Right.
westerns, because I could ride, they let me ride in the opening credit stuff for an entire week. We raced all over the Sawtooth Mountains on these horses, and every time they said action, it was not a stroll; it was a cavalry charge.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, oh yeah, it was a crazy, and we did that for a whole week, and it was great fun, and I finally got to use one of my other skills, which was horsemanship.
Hmm.
Uh, and so when you ask me about a bucket list, yeah, I could stand to do another Western or two.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Do you have any I know we talked about Spider Noir. Do you
right.
have any other performances or anything else that are, coming up on the
Coming up.
horizon?
Well, nothing coming. Everything is out now.
Sure.
Spider
Yeah.
Noir's out. The Burbs is out now. And that was a nice gig.
Hmm.
Really, I had scenes with Kiki Palmer, and Kiki's a lovely young woman, and we had great fun doing it. I realized doing that show that even this late in the game, and at this point in my career, I do love the work. I
Yeah.
mean, I love being playing with the other actors, making the stuff up, making it happen, finding out what the story is, bringing it to life. It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure. And the other thing that I did now, I'm also in For All Mankind, and I'm in season 3. I play a governor, a conservative Republican governor, who gets invited by a young ex-astronaut woman to run as her vice president. I end up being the vice president during season 3. Well, season 5 came around and they invited me back. Only this time I'm the president.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And how did I become the president? Well, this is alternative history. I beat Al Gore.
Yeah.
I beat Al Gore and became president. And I only appear in as the president at a podium with the presidential seal behind me, addressing the nation. But I had some nice speeches, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I've had this experience a few times. When it happens, you never know when it's going to happen. But when it happens, you gotta love it. We were doing this one monologue, which was a little intricate. The text wasn't complicated, but sometimes certain things are easier to remember. They fit together better.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
this one was fitting it together was a little tricky. But so I did a number of takes, and it's the put my phone on silent. I'm addressing the nation right down the camera, in the bore of the camera. And at the end of the scene, I didn't know what to do. So I just stood there and they would yell cut. And that was fine. We did about 5 or 6 takes, or 4 or 5 takes. And the director said, "Look, I think we've got it. I think what we've got is good. Do you want another take? Just for the heck of it?" Yeah, let's just do one more. So we do this take, and I'm right down the bore of the camera. This time, when I finish my line, I'm looking right at the camera. I just turn to the side and walk off.
Yeah.
So I walk off. The entire room broke out into applause. Everybody.
Sweet.
Hey, sweet. It's like, yeah, they were with you. And that's happened a few times. That when that happens, it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah. And if you're a theater actor, that's like,
Oh, it is. When they're with you, that's, you're just like, because, it always goes through your head while you're doing it. But then at the end, when you get that good reaction, you're like, there we go,
Yeah. He's like, oh, baby. Yeah. Okay. I'm cooking now.
Awesome. Well, that's great. That's great. So, it's been great to have you on. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I really enjoyed speaking with you tonight, Randy. It's been I'm really excited for you with your projects that you have out now, and I've really enjoyed hearing your stories and your memories about the business. It's that's it's interesting to say the least. Lots of great things about the business, and I love hearing the stories, and my listeners do too. So I know you have your website, randyoglesby.com, and you can also link to your IMDb page, and your bio and photos and things are there too. Yep.
Yeah, that's where you get me. I don't have a big presence. I have an Instagram account, but I don't really post on it. I have it so that I could see others. I had a Facebook account, but I don't anymore for reasons I got hacked, and I never started it again.
Right.
But I will say the Burbs has been picked up, so we're gonna shoot another season of that. And
wonderful.
They contacted us about 3 weeks ago now, and asked about my availability. So maybe there'll be something there for me.
Bingo. There you go.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah, it could be sweet.
Awesome. Well, folks, randyoglesby.com, and I will put the link to Randy's website, and then you can also get to his IMDb and learn all about Randy. That'll be in the show notes, folks. Until next time, Randy, again, we appreciate you coming by and spending some time with us. Best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you.
And
you.
folks, thanks for tuning in and listening. We've been with Randy Oglesby tonight on Foul Players Radio, and we will see you all next time. Folks, thanks again for tuning in to Foul Players Radio. It's great to be back in the saddle. And how do you like the new logo, huh? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Tonight we had Randy Oglesby on the show, and I really enjoyed speaking with him. He's in Spider Noir, a brand new show on Amazon Prime and MGM Plus. It's in the Marvel comic universe, as well as the new Burbs, which is also on, I believe it's on Peacock. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not going to stop and check it now. You'll be able to find it, the Burbs. And randyoglesby.com is his website. And he's a great guy. I had a great time talking to him. Remember, folks, tune into www.foulplayersradio.com, youtube.com/@foulplayersradio, your one-stop shop for all your pop culture needs. Michael Spedden here, folks. We will see you all next week. I'm signing off. Great to be back in the saddle. See you all soon.